I'm here with Daryl Parker at Friedman Law Offices on August 31st, 2012. And Daryl, I just want you to talk about what happened to you today and how you feel.
Well, Dan, I am still overwhelmed at the events that transpired this morning, and here we are at 2 o'clock this afternoon, and things for me are still rolling around in my mind and heart and head, and it's something that a week ago, I believe it was a week ago today, that Ellie and I started driving back to Geneseo, where we now live. And the reason for us being here was that there was a hearing before Judge Nelson on what evidence we have and some other issues, and she was to rule on that, and it was pretty much agreed that her summary judgment was, I would say, quashed, that the case would go to trial. And here we are a week later, and the state a week ago was fighting us tooth and toenail, and here a week later the case has done a 180-degree turn, where Attorney General Bruning couldn't say enough as to how he felt about the case, that I was wrongfully convicted, that I was innocent, that there was new evidence, that some evidence had even been lost, and he was just more than willing to take the blame and to apologize for the state from what happened 56 years ago. So we're through that now, and it's a time of reflection. It's a time for moving on, and I want for myself and my wife a chance to get back on track, and we're not party people. Party for us is to go to Culver's for a burger, and Daryl can watch the Weather Channel, and Ellie has a channel on decorations and of homes, etc., which she loves to do. So basically, that's what happened today. I first met Herb December of 11. In fact, he called maybe a week or so ahead of that.
It would have been 2010, right? December of 10.
December of 10, you are correct. It was December of 10 when Herb called and introduced himself and said that he had read the book Barbara's Souls, and he was fascinated by it, and he wanted to come to Moline and visit us, and we said that's fine, come ahead. And so we set the date, and he did come, and we spent 2 or 3 hours together, and we took him out to lunch. But he offered that he wanted to take the case on a contingency basis, and that was fine with us. And so there you have how he got into the case. Well, from there, he told us the procedure that would have to develop, that the first step was the new conviction, wrongful conviction act that had just been passed, I believe in 9, by the legislature, and that was applicable to what would transpire as far as my case was concerned. Okay, so Herb started working on it, and the first step was to file a petition before the Tort Claims Board of Nebraska, and he did that, and he said, now Daryl, nothing's going to happen, but this is just the thing we have to do. So I said, fine, you're in the driver's seat. And so we waited for 6 months, and sure enough, nothing happened. And so he said, now the next thing we do is we'll take it to civil court based on 209 Wrongful Conviction Act, and we'll get the Lancaster County District Judge involved in that. And that's what he did. And by that time it was I believe in July of 11 when we got well, actually not a turn down from the claims board. It's just they never got back to us, and I guess that's the way that happens. So then he started proceeding through the Wrongful Conviction Act, and then the state's Attorney General got into the act, and there was a series of interrogatories and admissions and so forth, some legal terminology that was necessary to get the case going, and that took, it seemed like that took several months. And then by that time Herb got read the book, or Dan read the book, I should say. Dan read the book and got very interested in the case, and he wanted to be a part of the team, which was fine. And so son Dan got involved in the Parker case, and we began to work a little broader on issues. Again, there were questions that the state had and questions that we had. For example, a lot of the DNA evidence had been lost, and Herb made considerable inquiries into that, and the state could never produce that. Also, we found over the course of time, fairly recently, that there was some evidence that was compelling that then County Attorney Shield did not turn over to our defense team at the trial, which concerned some witnesses that had seen Wesley Perry before the murder, on the day of the murder, and after the murder. And so that was great news. And then finally a hearing was set before Judge Nelson to present evidence that was necessary to get her opinion on as to whether it would be admitted into trial. And one of the things that in the brief writing back and forth, the state filed a summary judgment early on, wanting to dismiss the case entirely, and that proceeded, and it got to the point where we noticed that they started talking about Parker had unequivocally made a false confession, and that raised our interest. Why were they doing that? Well, they had a plan that I would not be able to prove that this confession was coerced, and that's one of the things that had to be proven by the so-called fourth prong of the Wrongful Conviction Act. Excuse me. So anyway, my wife and I came to Lincoln just a week ago, a little more than a week. There was a hearing before Judge Nelson, and she took everything under advisement as to what we could present at trial. And they had dropped the summary judgment pleading, but they wanted to withdraw the fact that I had made this false confession where they were admitting that, and so that was also before the judge. And so there were several things hanging fire when suddenly less than a week after the hearing, Dan called me and said, "Daryl, I have great news that essentially the state wants to capitulate." We didn't know for a fact if that was actually true or there was some other dealings or whatever that they wanted to do, but as it turned out, that's what they've actually done, is capitulate to the whole 9 yards. I want to say to Friedman's what a great job they've done for me and for Eleanor, and that Herb has talked to me often enough. They said, "Daryl, why are you interested in this case, Herb?" And he made the statement that they were bookends to his career, as I would guess his career. Possibly, I hope he doesn't just quit here, but he's getting to the age where he has to think about retirement. And so he got Dan very interested in the case, and for my money, these guys are the best brief writers around. Now, I've knocked around enough in the penitentiary and out to know not how to write a brief, but style is very important, and substance. And you have to really do the research. As Dan told me one time when I was talking to him, he said, "Daryl, I'm in deep research." So he had some help with that. Those people are tremendous. My hat's off to the lady in Toronto and to Joel, a summer intern. He may even have gone back to school now. I don't know. But again, the state has capitulated. They agreed to the full month. They said that I was wrong. There's going to be hopefully pleading, stipulating that all that criminal record stuff be expunged from my record, and then as far as I'm concerned, the money will come, and hey, we're on the road back to where we want to be.
Thank you, Daryl. It's been our great privilege to represent you.